There he goes again.
Yeah, baby!
My little buddy here is exceedingly excited because he just switched to Central Pacific Bank.
It's epic!
Without CPB, I wouldn't have a leg to stand on.
All the places we can go.
Hey guys, welcome back to Uncut Hawaii, presented by Central Pacific Bank. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Kolby, and this is the podcast where we interview Hawaii's most interesting and innovative creators, entrepreneurs, and change makers. And this could possibly be the last episode where you don't have a baby.
I know, it's crazy. So
how are you feeling?
We're excited. I mean, 38 weeks, just trying to enjoy our time together before this baby comes. And then, yeah, just get everything ready. I think we're pretty much ready. We just packed the hospital bag and all that. So
the hospital bag, you have the car seat. That's the main, you basically just need a car seat and then everything else. It's
crazy because we just went to the appointment and they were like, oh, you need to get it certified and checked. So we got it in, we're approved. So
good.
Car seat's all good. Hospital bag is ready. So we just need this baby to come out. Yeah, no, we can't wait to meet her. We're super stoked. We're super excited. All the emotions.
Yeah. Do you have a name yet? Or are we not sure?
Yeah, we have a couple names, but we want to see her and whatnot. So that'll be the hard launch when that happens. But yeah, I mean, we're super stoked. It's just been a crazy time trying to figure everything out. And we just talked about this before this, but the uncertainty is what's killing me. It's we're so used to Megan, especially, she's a Virgo. This baby's gonna be a Virgo, and so we were oh man, why is there?
And a Leo.
Why is there not a calendar invite or when is this baby coming out? We have the due date, but it's still uncertain. Can come out at any time. But yeah, I mean, so with this, I will be taking a break. We will be taking a small break, but don't worry, we'll be back.
Short break. Yeah. Short break. And when we come back, Andrew's gonna have bags under his eyes. He'll be falling asleep in the middle of the episode.
I'll be hold on, I gotta check on this real quick. But yeah, it's exciting. We also have some small rebranding planned. But yeah, it's gonna be fun.
We have some exciting things happening, and excited to share with you guys.
So today's guest, we are talking with one of the 5 emerging Pacific Islander artists to know, according to Grammy.com. Super stoked on that.
That's a huge title. Yes, Parish. He's a Nā Hoku Hanohano Award-winning singer-songwriter. It was such a good episode because we get to hear his story, and we see him all over the place, married to the beautiful Kalenaku. But I feel like a lot of people might not know the backstory and the things that motivate him and inspire him as an artist. So we get to hear a little bit of even spending time in Ka'u, which I didn't know of. He lived down in South Point for a while, taking care of his family farm, and his love for songwriting, which I think was super inspirational and fun to just kind of talk about the creative process.
And yeah, to see how authentic he is through his music and sharing those stories. And then you would think that he's been doing music officially for a long time, but then we talk about his career and how he made the full-time shift. So yeah, very exciting.
Enjoy the episode.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you for coming on.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Yeah, this is a treat to be able to.
Shout out to Brandon and Johnny for having us at Tuesdays. We're trying OPP, Other People's Pinot. So, cheers.
Oh, I didn't know where that was going.
I was wondering too. And you said it quickly and confidently. Yeah. But
that's a great name for a label.
Cheers.
Cheers. Yeah. So we're here recording in Waikoloa. It's we don't usually say when we're recording, but I feel like it's appropriate to say that we're recording this less than a week after the Maui brush fires. And so we're just trying to be sensitive with that, but we also want to acknowledge that our hearts are heavy, and we're just thinking about our friends and family and all of our neighbors that are just going through it right now. So, yeah.
It's going to be a process and a long recovery, so we're here for you.
Yeah, I feel like the state of Hawaii is grieving right now with everyone, whether you're directly affected by it or not. Yeah, it's just heartbreaking.
Yeah. All of your family and Ohana and friends are okay?
Yeah. A bunch of firefighters I know.
Oh.
And obviously they're so busy. I've had, actually, right before I came, I had one of my friends who's a firefighter on Maui, born and raised in Lahaina. And he was one of the first people I texted, and I was like, hey, bro, just checking on you. And he only got back to me today.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, just is like, I'm good. Love you, bro. You know what I mean? So.
Oh, man.
That was
And it's kind of crazy because it's like, that's just like one story out of so many. Like, I'm sure a lot of people are trying to reach their loved ones out there and whatnot. And it's a scary, crazy time right now.
Yeah, a lot of uncertainty for sure. You know, finding out every day more and more things happening, and just trying to be supportive. Everyone's trying to find a way to contribute.
Find a way. Yeah, it's like, how do we help? But then we don't want to do something that's not helpful to them, you know? And then we're seeing that. It's like, thank you for all the donations, but we got choke clothes already. Stop sending all your Goodwill stuff.
Because we don't know where to put them.
So this is what we need now. And so, so just being able to listen.
Just listening, setting our prayers, and our good vibes. And
that's a lot already, I feel like. You know, just sending aloha and good vibes is a lot. That's what they need. Because what can you tell a person, you know, grief firsthand, you know, it's hard to tell a person anything that you might feel might help. A lot of times you just got to tell them you love them. Because I'm thinking about you. I love you. I know that might not be physically there, but just know I'm thinking about you. And then any positive, good energy I can send your way, you know.
Yeah.
That's what I've learned in life.
Yeah, that's always like, we were talking about this on another episode with Ryan, because Ryan was talking about, like, he had a crazy year of losing like a lot of people close to him. And like his processing of grief, and like we were like, yeah, it's like such a weird, like, what do you say? Like, you want to help, but then like don't.
It's a fine line because they're already sensitive, right?
Yeah.
But kind of like what you said too, like his message was like, you know, sometimes it's just good to just reach out, just know that you're there, you love them, and you know that's sometimes that's all you can do.
It goes a long way.
Yes.
It really does. Yeah. You know, you remember that if you're the person grieving, you remember that. You remember every single person that reached out.
Yeah,
guaranteed.
Just before we move on from Maui, do you have any memories from Maui that you want to share?
Yeah, of course. I played a few times at the Baldwin Museum. Me and my wife, and I've also done it with my in-laws, and it's one of the most memorable Maui gigs that I've had. It's just, if you've ever, you know, been down that street, and any musician, I'm sure they'll say the same, who's played there, is just there's always a great crowd. It's always positive. People are always coming out and they want to listen to your music. They want to listen to your original music. A lot of Hawaiians come out, you know, and they just want to hear. And it's probably one of the funnest gigs I've done.
Oh,
you know,
really?
over there. I love where you can sit down and be intimate, and that was what that gig was, you know, Baldwin Museum, and I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure it's not there anymore. One of another historic place.
Yeah.
So those videos and pictures that I have of that place, I'm definitely holding it close and near.
Right.
Yeah.
That's heavy. I mean, I think for a lot of people, you know, it's like, it's not just a tourist town, right? It's like so much history there, and like so many memories and whatnot. And just for it to overnight, you know, people are still trying to figure that out. So
I think initially nobody knew how bad it really was, and then you realize, oh no, it's bad. Like,
And then, like, as a date, like more and more stuff, because also people didn't have a service, so they couldn't be posting from there, and so it's like you don't.
And then
really,
even for us, like seeing just on our social media and whatnot, we're not even there. We can't see everything, you know.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine.
And like the first responders and the search and rescue people, like what they're seeing, it's like, ugh. I don't think most people could even like handle that. Like, I definitely wouldn't be able to handle stuff like that. Like, it really takes a special person to be able to be out there and doing that work. So thinking about them too.
Yeah, definitely. Stay strong.
Yeah.
It's really cool to see everyone pull together though.
That's a silver lining, yeah?
It's a silver lining, yeah. People taking time, you know, from their lives to just try and contribute in some ways.
It's a beautiful thing about
Hawaii. Beautiful thing about our culture.
I know. We sometimes like take that for granted until you see it. You actually see it again, and then like everybody else on the outside watching Hawaii is like, oh wow, look how special they are. This is what we do here.
Don't even think twice. Everybody just like turns the switch and they're in
what can
mode.
I do?
Yeah, what can I do? And that's totally, it's a cultural thing. You know, we do that naturally. We grew up doing that. It's like when you're cleaning up after a party, right? And everyone's breaking down stuff. You don't sit around. You get up and you just start going to work.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the same thing with this. It's like something's happening. Hey, you need help? I'm going to go to work. I'm going to help in some way.
Yeah.
And everyone's pulling their talents and whatnot. Yeah, that's totally Hawaii culture. And you gotta love that.
Yeah, I love that. That's really special.
So, are you born and raised here? Let's tell us about you and like, you know, where you came from and your upbringing.
I was born and raised on Oahu.
Okay.
And I grew up on the west side. I always like making that clear.
Yeah.
I have a bunch of guys in the music industry are always like, "You're a West Side boy," and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm totally a West Side boy." And then they're like, "Really, you don't act like a West Side boy?" And I was like, "Well, am I supposed to get punchy?" I don't know. Like I try to stay happy as much as possible.
Yeah.
What part of West Side did you grow up?
Ever Beach and Waianae.
Okay.
You know, like all right.
Yeah.
The stereotype is there for sure.
Yeah.
You know? Oh, I love Waianae. I love Waianae.
Oh,
people.
yeah.
I was just out there this past weekend in Maili.
Oh,
It's
yeah?
like, oh man, we were showing our film, but everybody like stayed and like asked questions and like came up and introduced. Like there's no awkwardness. Like, you know, they just like hug you. I'm like, oh, I love this.
Yeah. A lot of aloha there for sure.
So much aloha there.
I love it. I still love going back. I still love seeing my family and visiting whenever we can, especially, you know, family gatherings. You got grad parties, weddings. You know, oh, I gotta fly
Automatic.
over.
Yeah.
My tie to Hawaii Island was my biggest tie was my grandpa had a farm in Ka'u on South Point Road.
Okay.
That we grew up helping, and then when my grandfather passed away, my dad was running it full time, and then when I moved home from college, I started helping him run it. And then I ran it by myself pretty much for a couple of years, and then he was helping
real?
it. Yeah. And
What?
and then when I stopped like full time running the farm is when I went straight into music. And I
No
told
way.
myself like, yeah, I want to
Oh.
pursue music full time, and I want to chase my dream of being a full time musician and chasing songwriting.
How long ago was this?
When did I release my first single? I think it was around like 2018.
Okay.
Not that long ago. And I made that transition, you know. I still would help, obviously.
Yeah.
But that brings me up every week. I'd come up every single week.
It's a big decision to make, you know.
It is.
Commit to something that you're passionate about.
Yeah, a lot of hard work for sure. On both sides, the farm and going into the music. But I'm
So
happy.
you're not just one of those singers that put on a cowboy hat.
Oh yeah.
It was the other way around.
It was so hard for me to wear a cowboy hat at one of my gigs. I had the hardest time, but I see everyone do it. I'm just like,
Hey, he's a real cowboy.
yeah. I was like, looking at people, I was like, wow, man, I give you props. I guess I should do it too because.
Let's see those other guys jump on a horse.
Yeah. That's what I always say. You know, everyone's always like questioning. I'm like, well, if you want, you can jump on my young horse and then you can wear a cowboy hat. Yeah. All the cowboys are like, yeah. Let's see him jump on a young horse.
That's what. Wow.
Yeah.
So what was that like living down South Point?
I loved it. It's so peaceful. You know, the people, a ton of aloha, obviously. A lot of our really good friends are still down there, and we also like visiting when they have brandings and stuff. You know, we go down, we go help out when we can. It's hard. It's on the weekend, so
Yeah.
I'm always getting the call. Hey, are you free this weekend? I'm like, I was like, well, I can squeeze it in. I'll go early in the morning, and then maybe by like 1 o'clock, somebody will take my horse, and then I'll change real quick and book it to a gig.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it down there. My ohana's down there. The Kanihos.
Yeah.
So
Love
it's
that.
so beautiful. It's like so. You're just there's no other worries in the whole world. Yeah. You're like there's no cell phone service, so you can't be on Instagram. But it's just like you're just there with
Disconnected
like with the land and people. It's the
Totally.
best. Yeah.
I spent a lot of time there during COVID. From Waimea all the way down to Ka'u. That's pretty much the only places I went. I'll make that drive
wow.
once a week.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
And it was just like
it's a drive.
Yeah,
it's a drive.
It's like the
You
long,
gotta
peaceful
plan
drive.
You gotta plan it out. But it's like your peace in Waimea, your peace on the drive, and your peace in Ka'u. No one's gonna bother. You're not gonna see anyone.
No.
Yeah.
At a certain point in the road, it's like it's just you heading to Ka'u.
My dad used to always say when we were helping him, he always left the gate open in the front. And I was like, Dad, why you always leave the gate open? He was like, well, I've been up here for a week. I just want somebody to come by and say hi.
Please.
He was like, I just want to see somebody. And I was like, oh. And then when I started spending time by myself, because I always wondered, like, how do you do this? How do you spend here by yourself? And then so I started spending a lot of nights by myself. And I was like, man, now I know how he feels, you know. I'm an adult now, right?
Yeah.
Trying to do what he was doing. And I was like, Oh, yeah.
I get it now.
So I started leaving the gate open.
Did anyone come through?
Yeah. You're not upset when they drive through. You're like, oh, hey, I got a friend.
Yeah, and there's no like nothing around there. It's like off the grid.
Off the grid.
So were you already like writing songs and stuff before that?
I
like,
was.
So during that time? And
I was.
Yeah.
When I made that transition to where I wanted to pursue music, like really pursue music, I'd like would lock myself in the room, or I'd go down. Ka'u, I wrote a lot of songs down there because
probably a really good place to go and like write and be creative. Yeah.
No, totally. You got nature outside of
Lots
you.
of inspiration.
Lots of inspiration. I wrote a song that was on my first EP, Where I Reside, and the song is called "Must Be the Rain." And I wrote the song because there's a tin roof, metal roof, right?
Oh.
And when it rains down in South Point Road, we're more on the top. It will pound rain, like out of nowhere. It'll be dry all day, and it'll just pound rain. And like 2:00 in the morning, and I remember waking up, and I was like, "Man, it's rain."
Yeah.
And I actually wrote that song based on that experience. Must Be the Rain, because it kept me up all night.
Yeah. The sound.
Yeah.
It's like.
Yeah. And then you just get this big, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so you spent plenty of time in Ka'u, and then after that, you just went full time into music.
Full time into music.
Okay.
What was that like deciding factor, or like what was it for you that was like, hey, you know what, I'm gonna focus on music and pursue this full time?
It was my passion for songwriting. I started writing songs because I didn't like the way my voice sounded singing covers. You know, we all grew up. You know, you do the bar gigs and you sing all your cover songs, and I just didn't like the way I sounded. And when I was in college, especially, I've been writing songs since what? I want to say since I was an intermediate that I can remember writing songs, and even in high school, and then in college I really started. You know, you have time to yourself, honing the craft, and then right after that, I just kept doing it. And then when you get busy, especially when I was working on the farm, you get busy and you don't have too much time. So I started making time. I'd go in it's either early in the morning or late at night. I'll sit myself down, lock myself in a room, and I just would pick up my guitar and play.
That's how you know that's what you want to do.
And I wanted to share that. I started building up this collection of songs, and I was like, man, I feel like I have something to say. And I feel like my songs are relatable, especially to our people. And I wanted people to hear that. So, like I said, like playing at the Baldwin Museum, that was probably one of my, I love those gigs where I can sit down, I can share to you and tell you what my song was about and then play it for you. And I feel like that's when really people really start buying into who you are as an artist and as a person when you share that story. And a lot of my songs that I write is pretty much just sharing my life journey with people.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't even know if I've been doing it on purpose. You know, I think that's just how it's been coming out. Yeah, it's a songwriting. It's songs. I love writing songs, and I feel like that's what people need.
Yeah,
it's the thing I can give to the world.
Oh, I love that.
My music.
Yeah, that's your special thing that you can give. Were you writing songs for other people before? You're performing them yourself?
For other people, I think I've written songs in mind for other people, and then I ended up singing it myself.
Yeah.
But I think currently what I've been doing a lot of that, where we'll write a song, and then we'll contemplate pitching it to someone, or singing it myself, or maybe even saying like, "Hey, I got a song. Your voice would sound good on this. Would you want to sing it?"
Yeah.
I've done that a bunch too.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then my wife, I always would bounce a song to her.
Yeah.
Like if I'd sing a song and I could hear it in a higher key, I'd be like, hey, you want to sing this song?
What has that been like to be able to share like your guys' passions together?
It's a beautiful thing. We both really love making music together. She wasn't much of a songwriter before, and I kind of got her into it, and she's great. She's a great partner for writing songs with, especially when I have something started. She's helped me finish a lot of my songs. Or if I'm stuck, I'll walk up to her and I'll ask her for her opinion. I was like, "What do you think about this?" And she's like, "Let me sit on it." She'll sit on it for 5 minutes and she'll say, "What about this?" She'll bounce it back to me. And I'll be like, "Oh, that was perfect. That's exactly what I needed."
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's fun, especially sharing the stage. Sharing the stage is, it almost makes it easier. Because you can share that chemistry, and it's easier to tell that story because she's
part of the story.
She's part of the story.
That's so beautiful that you get to do that together.
That was her requirement, is that if she's going to marry somebody, she had to marry her business partner.
Oh.
It's a good thing you got off the farm.
Right? She's like, if you're going to keep farming, we're not going to do this.
Because it's like, you see, you know, like, I think if I think about like my marriage, it's like, I know that my husband has like his passions and things that he's good at, but I never actually really get to see that side of him. Like he's doing that at his job, and the same with like for me, like he doesn't really see me like in my element, you know?
Yeah.
And so like I feel like we miss like part of the best parts of each other. You know, but then you guys get to share this together and make each other better. Like she'll add to your songs and like make it better.
Yeah.
So that's so cool.
That is the cool part about it.
Yeah.
Is, we don't get offended too often with each other when we're critiquing each other. It's expected.
Yeah.
for
Like
sure.
you better tell me if this
Yeah, like you got to tell me, because you
be
represent
honest.
me, I represent you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I love that. We both do. It's really cool to to come off the stage and we'll walk off and then we'll jump back in the truck, we'll sit down and we'll both look at each other. What do you think? You know, every single time, right?
Yeah.
Or even out of a session, we'll come out of a session in the studio and what do you think? How was it? And we'll be like, oh, that was so good. And we just end up pumping each other up, like each other's biggest fans.
Yeah.
And that's what you want, you know?
Yeah.
You want that. I'm very fortunate to have that positive energy in my household. You know? And that's important for anyone.
For sure. Especially with your partner.
Yeah, yeah. They got to be your biggest supporter. And I read a meme recently where they were like, be careful who you marry because they'll make and break your future.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
100%, right? Like they really will. They could either hold you back or push you forward, and she always pushes me forward.
Oh, I love to hear that.
Nonstop. She'll get on me and vice versa if you feel in any way or we feel in any way that you're lacking.
Yeah.
You're not doing it to your best of your ability.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a gift.
It's
to
a
be
gift.
able to have that.
It is a gift, yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about like this current era in your life, because we see you everywhere. Like you're winning awards and you're on covers and things like that. And so tell us like what this like era of your life is right now and how does it feel?
It feels amazing. I'm very grateful to be in a position where I am absolutely enjoying the process. I'm in this phase in my life where like I've been fortunate enough to create nonstop, and we're constantly writing songs now. And I've been collaborating with a bunch of people reaching out to collaborate, and it's just been keeping this train moving, and I love it. So last year, I can tie into this. Last year, actually in December 28th, 2021, we lost our daughter at birth, and she is the biggest reason, you know. When I won my Nā Hoku this year, the first thing I did was dedicate it to her, because she's truly the reason on why I keep pushing. You know, when you're having your lows of lows, you know, and you have that thing, that fire lit under you that keeps you moving forward. And my daughter, regardless of her being here, was my fire moving forward. So all last year, I got to say her name. It's important for me to say her name. Kamakua Charlotte Parish. Kamakua means fearless child. And we constantly, and I tell myself this constantly, where in the moments where I'm having doubt, and the moments where like you're feeling unsure, it's fear trying to like get into your mind. And she's the reminder. Her name is the reminder on why you can't be scared. You got to be fearless, and you got to just charge full force. And all last year, I was in the studio writing songs, and I was recording. I used the music to I was trying to use music to heal me and my family, because I didn't know what to do. You know, we're in this heavy state of grief. You know, she lived for 18 minutes. 18 minutes, and I had the honor of being able to hold her and be with her. But then, you know, following that, you go throughout a year and you don't know where to pick up the pieces. You don't know what to do, and you're struggling. And I have my wife. I'm worrying about my wife, and I'm thinking about like, how am I going to keep my family? You know, and what we all do, you dive into what you know how to do, and his music is what I know how to do. Writing songs is what I know how to do, and I dove into it. I almost slaved myself in the studio, and I whenever I was getting tired, I just forced myself to do it, and it was almost this therapy for myself.
Yeah.
It really was. It was me putting it all into the music. It was me taking my frustrations out in a positive way, rather than in a negative way, which easily anybody can go. Like you can easily like blame yourself, God, and whatever you want, you know.
Yeah.
And I told myself I'm not going to do it, and I told my wife, you're not going to do it either. And in the times where I feel like you're being weak, I'm going to remind you can't do it, and I'll be right there, and I'm going to hold you as hard, as strong, and as best I can to keep you afloat. Because in that moment, I wasn't thinking about myself; I was thinking about her, and it was truly the motivation that kept me going. So coming back a full year, and now I'm finishing up my album to finally get ready to release it. And a lot of these songs was recorded
during that
time. So I put all of me into it, you know. That winning this recent Nā Hoku was a really beautiful feeling. I wasn't sad. It's, you know, when you plan your life ahead and you look at performances and you look at awards coming up or things you're trying to do, and you imagine people with you. You know what I mean? Your loved ones, and you lose them in those moments. It can be sad. It can be, it's those things, how do I explain this? You can't explain it, right? It's a missing piece in you all the time. But I remember standing on that podium holding my award, and I just was thinking about her, and I was like, Daddy did this for you, and Daddy did this because of you. Like, you were the reason why I was able to get through it, whether you realize it or not. And I believe she knows, you know. And that was this coming album, and my music I'm ready to release is I'm naming my album Where I'm Going. My first album EP was Where I Reside, and this one is Where I'm Going. And I really wanted to show people through my music of the type of songs I want to write, and what I plan to do. Not just for myself, but for my fans and my community overall. Like, a lot of my songs, I had someone tell me recently, which is pretty cool. They were telling me, you know, I don't know why we're always trying to sound like other people. You know, they hear people, I'm not saying this to anybody specifically, but they're like, you know, you hear musicians trying to sound like other people. Why don't we just sound like us?
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Why don't we just like say the pigeon in the song? You know what I mean? It was like that. It was like say the pigeon in the song. It was like, who cares? That's for us. That's how we sound. That's how we talk. So why change it for anybody? It's authentic to us, and you'll hear it in the songs that I'm about to release. I did it purposely, and I'm really excited to share.
I love it.
Really authentic. And
I love it.
I'm always telling people, like, my genre is Hawaiian country because it is Hawaiian. You know, and I can't fake country. We are country. That's 100%. How we live. You know what I mean? Like, it's we're not trying to fake anything. We're not trying to put a brand on us. It's just, we live country, and we sing in Hawaiian. That's how I see it.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. It's like heartbreaking to hear a story, and I like, as you're talking, I'm like thinking about other people who I know who like went through similar things, and like that's kind of the beautiful thing about how you're able to funnel your energy into music, because it was healing for you, but it's gonna be healing for so many other people who are able
I really hope so.
You know, who like went through similar things, or I mean, everybody deals with loss and grief, and there's just a gift that you're going to be able to, it's from something hard and something sad, it's like a gift that you're going to be able to give to so many people, which is beautiful.
Oh, mahalo. You know? I really hope so. That was my intentions completely, is how can I turn this tragedy in my life into something positive? And represent Kamakua the best way I can, you know. And we do that for our families in general. You know, we always want to make our families proud, you know, our kids proud, our spouses. And if that's not the biggest motivator, I don't know what is.
For sure.
How are you guys doing today?
We're doing so much better. We've been, we're closer than ever. You know, I think that's another part that I feel very fortunate, because a tragedy, like any type of tragedy, I think about this for the families in Maui as well. You know, any type of tragedy, it can tear your family apart.
Yeah.
Naturally, you know, and just everyone's emotional. You're upset, you know, and especially you're gonna take it out on the people closest to you.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Right.
You don't know who to blame or.
Yeah.
Right.
You're naturally gonna do that.
Yeah.
You know, I think I took it upon myself as the man of my home is like, hey, you like call yourself the man. I tell myself this. You like, call yourself the man. Here's your time to act like the man. Be the man. Because that's why you get the title only if you can show that you deserve it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's times like these.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So when does your album come out so that we can all listen to all the songs?
This fall. I'm looking at this fall.
Okay.
I've just been dropping singles here and there. Yeah. You know what? We can change the pace.
Okay, this fall. Excited. Yeah.
This fall. I'm pretty excited to release it. I'm looking forward to just finally sharing an album, you know, a full 10 songs. I might even add more songs to it at this point, but I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited to release.
What was the process like? You know, just like writing and then like recording, and I'm sure you wrote so many songs. So what was it like just picking the 10?
Picking the 10? I've made my list of the 10 multiple times.
100%.
And especially last year, I wrote some of my best songs. I feel some of my best songs last year. And I remember I had a list already, and then I started taking songs out and putting songs in. I was like, oh man, this song's way better than that one. And going about it. But I keep writing. I constantly... People ask me how I write my songs, and a lot of it is from like conversations like this. We'll be talking, and you'll say something. And without people realizing, I'm like storing it. I'm storing it in my brain, or I'll grab my phone and I'll be like,
put it down.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
I like
we
that.
were talking about that with Paula. She's like, she'll literally just like stand up and walk away and be like, sorry, I got to write this down.
Or she'll record voice memos.
No.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. I do that all the time. But I'll be at a party, or you're at a concert, you're listening to somebody, and then you hear something in like the way someone is singing, you're like, oh, like you just take that piece. Oh, I like that.
Yeah, tend to just note it real quick.
Oh, I'll walk outside and I'll just be like, and I'm always hoping no one sees me because
if you see Kalei out there singing a voice memo, that might be the next new hit.
The next new hit. I tell you, because I remember one of the songs is funny. That I'll talk about process. I was trying to write this song that just drove, and so I just had the melody in my head, which is a lot of times how I come up with songs. I hear the melody in my head, so I pick up my phone, I open my voice memo, and it sounded like, and I start mumbling these. It sounds so dumb. It sounds ridiculous, and so I had like a minute of it. Of just mumbling, and then it's nothing, right? It's not even a song. And I go to my wife, and I'm just like, "Hear this. Tell me what you think."
Listen to this melody.
Listen to this. And she's like bust laughing, listening to it. And I was like, "No, ignore the mumbling. Listen to the melody. Listen to the melody." She's like, "No, the melody's cool. The melody's cool." Maybe like a week later, I just sorted out that, and I showed it to her again, and she was like, "This the same song?"
You know what? We want to hear the voice memo album.
Right? I'll probably share it on social media. When I'm ready to release the song, I'll probably share it. It's hilarious.
Yes.
This is version 1.
No, version 1. I did a songwriting class for some young kids. And I used that voice memo for an example. I was like, okay, guys, they asked me, how do you rate songs? I was like, well, I got an example. And I played them the voice memo. And they're all laughing, right? They think it's hilarious. They're laughing.
And then you play on the real thing.
Then I played on the real thing. And when I played on the real thing, they're all like applauding at the end. They're like, oh, that was so cool. I was like, well, I'm glad I showed you a better version than the first because you guys were teasing me.
It's so cool though how like people come up with their, like their own process for coming up with their creation.
Yeah.
Because it's just interesting because everybody has a different way of doing it, Like your way probably is not the same as Paula, even though it probably does start on a voice memo.
Anything. Technology.
But
just like finding inspiration from everything and taking it down and not forgetting about it.
Oh, yeah. I was we were riding, moving cows the other week with my friends. I was helping them. And they didn't see it because like they're pretty far from me. We're moving a big herd. I bust up my phone and I had this idea in my head, riding my horse, and I was singing it to myself. And as soon as they kind of like was calling me, looking over, I was like, put it away. It's like, hey, you playing around over there? We're trying to work.
You gotta pretend you're on a phone call now.
Yeah. I've been doing a lot of co-writing too, which is really cool because in the co-writes, everyone writes different. So one of the first things you do when you go into this co-writing, and I'm sure you guys would do it as well, is like, how do you work? Like, how do you like doing things? Like, you always got to ask that question.
Just figuring it out, yeah.
And every single time is different.
Yep.
Like someone's their structure and how they write their songs is usually completely opposite of mine. But then you pull your strengths together.
Yep, exactly.
You know? They're like, oh well, if that's your strength and you're good lyrically, like I'm good melodically. So how's about maybe? Well, you want to start first? You want to start with an idea, or you want me to sing a melody and then you try
to mumble some words?
Yeah, I can mumble all day. The best mumbler out there right now.
And then you figure out the words.
Nā Hoku, make a category for that.
Oh no, yeah, they should.
Mumbler of the year.
Mumbler of the year.
Version 1.
The best voicemail of the year.
How many people are usually like in like a co-writing session?
We'll have like, it'll be me and another person or 3.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah, I've been doing that a lot. We just came back from LA.
Yep.
And it was really, really cool. We wrote with some really good songwriters there, and I'm talking about like #1 on the billboards.
Yeah,
songwriters, like they make their living writing songs, and that's all they do. Especially in LA, right? It's
that's
like,
crazy.
It's such a crazy process. I was like talking to like when I was working with Chaz. It's like
Chaz does it too.
Yeah, exactly. Like the whole process of songwriting. It's like you may not be the one singing it, producing, or whatever, but you write it, and then like the whole process of it, and then like everything that happens afterwards. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
That is so, because I always think of like songwriting as such a like a art, which it is, but then I always think of like the inspiration will just come randomly. But then with songwriting, it is kind of like you sit and you write, like whether or not you're inspired or not, you just like find a way to find the words or whatever, you know, and like. It's kind of similar to, I guess, what we do, because then we'll like have like a spark. I'll like now and then like have a spark, like an idea, and I'm like, okay, so I have this idea to do this, and it sounds like just stupid, like. Okay, like no, but I can see it in my brain. Like
just
I
like
see
how
it.
you were explaining it to Auntie Pua earlier. Your music video.
Auntie Pua, I have this like really
have
good
this
idea. This music video, and she's like, okay.
Let's sit down. Let's figure it out.
But that's how like collaborating works and co-writing works.
Right. Okay.
Someone has an idea, and they'll take your idea and they'll add to it. They'll be like, "That's a great idea, but what if we did this with the idea?"
And then it goes back and forth.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
It sparks a conversation, and when the conversation, when you get that inspiration and what you're talking about, that's when
that's
the
like
magic.
magic.
It really does.
Oh, that like makes me excited because I know what you're talking about. Because we'll have like creatives in the same room together, and then like we're all talking the same language. Even though like if anybody were to drop in and be like, "What are they talking about?" It makes no sense.
Yes.
But I'm like, I know what you mean. Like get the light like this and the backlight. Blah, blah.
Yeah. No, I love those moments.
Yeah.
Even when we're doing music videos, like we'll be filming, and somebody would be like, "Stop. Try do this." And I was like, really? Yeah. Like when you say that line, try looking up.
Yeah.
And I was like, really? Huh, I'll try.
Okay.
Sure.
And
everyone
sees it.
Yeah, everyone sees it. And like I'm watching them behind the camera, and they're just like,
Yeah.
so good, so good. They're like, quietly high-fiving each other. You know, like I love those moments. In the studio, it's the same way. And I know you guys get those experiences.
100%.
But that's why you love doing it.
Yeah.
You're constantly chasing that high. It's a high.
Totally. Yeah.
You're like, oh, when can I have the next big idea? You know?
How can we get to that again?
Yeah. You're chasing it.
Can you just imagine if like everybody in the world gets to experience? Because it's like very like privileged. It's like fortunate that we get to do the thing that like we're passionate about. But like that magic, like imagine if everybody was doing the thing that sets them on fire. You know, like do that thing. That'd be really cool. I wish for more people to have that.
I mean, bouncing off of that. So like for you, you know, you said you kind of just push yourself to do this full time because of how much you love songwriting. So like, I guess like what would you tell someone that's like in that position, right? Like they're so close to just like taking that step and like, I don't know, fear is holding them back, right? So it's like, what would you tell them?
I would tell them, what did I do? I found a mentor. I found the people who were doing the things that I wanted to do or that I admired about them. You know, like I'd see them and I'd be like, wow, they're doing it. You know, and if I had the chance, I'd want to talk to them. And I'm never pushy. That's not my personality. And I'm not going to be like, hey, can you tell me what you know? But the thing about it is, and this has been my career in music, even in learning more about aloha aina and farming and horses, right? If you're willing, you come humbly and you're willing to just be a sponge, people are willing to teach you.
100%.
100%. They wanna sit there and download knowledge into you. They can't take it with them when they're gone. And if you're humble and you come there, it's like, hey man, like I want to learn. Please teach me, and I'll be quiet. I'll ask questions when I'm allowed to. Just download knowledge into me. And I had so many uncles and aunties do that for me. That has like made my growth steep because I was willing to just shut up and listen. And people respect you for that. Your mentors are going to respect you for that. And I'm very grateful that I've had a bunch, not just one. I have so many mentors who are still constantly checking in. Hey, Kalai, how you doing? Just checking in. Hey, I see everything doing good. Good, keep on at it. Or they'll be like, you know, what about this? You ever thought about this? You know, because they want to see you grow. That's one of the biggest things I remember someone told me, and I experienced myself, is one of the biggest gifts you can give to a teacher or a mentor is to take all that knowledge they taught you and then apply it.
Do something with it.
Do something with it. And like you just made their life sometimes. You know, they're like, wow, I taught you and look what you're doing with it.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, I love that. That's that's powerful and so simple, and anybody could do it. But surprisingly, it's not as, like, people don't take advantage of that. It's like awkward or something. You know, it's like there's something about like, let me just send them an email and ask, or and then, you know, like if you don't get an email, like, oh, maybe they're not interested in helping me. Like, how about just like call them on the phone, or like how about just like show up at the workplace and be like, hi, I'm Kolby. You know, like, you know, I think, and you know, as now you're teaching the next generation, like if you had a student who was just like that, like I'll just come and watch and you just help however I can and be a sponge. Like, of course you're gonna
of course
be like,
you want to help them.
How can you not?
How can you not? Right? You want to, and a lot of people want to.
Exactly.
Give them the opportunity, right? I love being able to give any type of knowledge to someone younger than me. My wife did a huike for her school, Kapena School of Music, and it was kind of funny. I remember this, and I was like, you talk about like cheering behind the camera. I was going crazy on the side of the stage. They were rehearsing at the school, and this young boy is playing his guitar. So obviously, I connected with him because he was singing and playing guitar, and I was like, oh, I've been there. I get it. And he was struggling. He was just nervous, right? Nervous. And I know this also when you step on stage in front of the camera, naturally you get scared. You're afraid, right? You're like, oh no, right?
Freeze up.
Right? Freeze up. So I told him in his rehearsal, and I was like, I'm going to teach you a chord. And no matter what happens in your performance, you hit your second to the last chord, you pause, and then you hit this beautiful chord I'm going to teach you. And I promise you, you're going to have the best response from the crowd. I looked at him, and I was like, do it. I'm not trying to give away any secrets. But seriously, for a young kid, I looked at him, I was like, hit this one chord, my man. Hit this one chord. No matter what, even if you're getting frustrated, just make sure you hit this chord. Because he was nervous. He was okay. I'll go home and practice. Practice. So he did the performance, and before he went on, I could tell he was nervous. I could see him like pacing, and I was like, stopped him, and I was like, deep breath.
Don't forget the chord.
And then I was like, don't forget the chord. You practiced the chord? He was like, yep. And I was like, okay, good. Deep breath. Get out there and do your thing. He killed it. He did such an amazing job.
Right on.
And then right before he was about to end, he hit his second to the last chord, and he went, bring, and he hit it nice and clean. And the crowd went nuts. I promise he had one of the biggest applauses that night. He had the biggest one. And I was in the side of this stage, like jumping. I was getting so crazy in the back. And I was like, my God. So proud of him. And but it was that, you know, like when I was sharing it with him, he just was like looking at me, and I could tell. You can tell when they're listening.
Yeah.
Right. They're listening. Yeah. He's looking at me, and he's like, "Yes, uncle. Okay." And like yeah. He's not. It's not going over his head. He was like, "Okay." And I was like, "Hold the chord again." He holds the chord, and I was like, "You got it." He's like, "Yep. Okay, good." Yeah. You know, and
such a great feeling.
It was a great feeling. Yeah. I'm not even his teacher. You know, I was just on the side. One thing. Yeah, just one thing. I was just observing on the side, and I was like, I gotta help him. I got a thing. You know what I mean?
I got a thing.
Because that's what people teach you, right? They teach you little life skills here and there. They teach you little tricks. Like for guitarists, they'll teach you a little, like you learn a lot of tricks. I learned a lot of tricks from my dad or from uncles. A lot of like our big entertainers, you know, in the music scene has taught me things. Like they'll see me playing, they'll like, let me try this one. You know what I mean? And the funniest thing, they'll be like, try this one, and you'll do it, and they're like, yeah, and they'll walk away. I was like, oh, what a G move, man. Like that was cool. I'm gonna remember that one when I do that to someone.
Yeah, just walk away.
You know, and then you use those little tricks and you apply it, and all of a sudden you got like 20 tricks.
Yeah, you got all the tools.
And you put it all together, and you got this beautiful art.
And the cool thing is that he's probably going to remember that and probably going to teach that to the next one.
I hope so. Or he's going to make it better. He's going to be like, I can add to it.
Watch this.
Yeah. And I love that. I love when I teach anyone anything and they're coming around me and they're like showing off around me.
Yeah.
I get them. And you just give it on the like.
You just give him the nod and like walk away.
That's right. Yeah, and then you gotta walk away. Yeah. It's key. You gotta walk away. Can't stay.
Shit, did Uncle like that or not?
Sometimes you gotta ignore him. You just gotta hear him smile and walk away. Yeah. And then they're like, "Wow, did you see me? Did you see me?"
Yeah.
I love that.
What has been some like crazy moments that I'm sure you've had like so many like in this music journey. Like, what's been like one standout either performance or just moment that you've had that's just like that, talk about that magic feeling, you know, like what's one moment?
Ooh, this is a cool one that brings. Obviously I had a bunch. Earlier this year I opened up for country music star Brett Young. And I couldn't do his Oahu shows. I was supposed to do the entire tour, but I did Maui and Kauai. So we're actually in a songwriting camp that week. And the day we ended our songwriting camp, I flew to Maui the next day and we did the show. And we did a new song that we just released, me and my wife, called Heart and Soul, right? And I didn't play it live yet. Never played it live yet. And we're at the MAC in the amphitheater, indoor, right? And I think it seats like 2,000 people. And I remember, wow, this is so cool. See, I get chicken skin thinking about it. I was blown away. I told everybody it's a new song. I think I only sang like several songs, right? I didn't have a long set, but I knew I wanted to play the song. I was like, this is a new song. It's called Heart and Soul. It goes something like this. And somehow, when we ended the song, we got a standing ovation for Heart and Soul. And I don't know if it's coincidence that it was Maui, you know, why the memory came to my head, but it was a standing ovation for a song that they never heard.
Yeah.
You know, that never happens. Like, I'm like blown away by it. Like, when people are so moved by a song, and I'm not saying this for myself, like, oh, I did a great job. I'm always thinking like, they just love the song. Yeah. It's the song, you know?
Yeah.
And when they stood up and they applauded, and unfortunately it was in the middle of my set. I was like, dang, it's not even my last song.
I know, I should have ended with
I should have saved it at the end.
Like, damn, what do I play next?
Yes, exactly. I was like, I can't top that. I can't
Where do I go?
Where do I go? That's exactly what I was thinking. I was like laughing to myself, and I looked over to my wife, and I was like, dang, what do we do now, you know? Oh, but that was an incredible moment. To me, like, you never heard the song before.
Yeah.
And it got to people somehow in that way. I don't want to say somehow, but it got to people. That was beautiful. And then we were just in LA, and we did a show downtown in Hollywood, and we played our song "We Are a Voice." And this is majority of that crowd. It wasn't local people, obviously. You know, it was people from that area, and like I say again, it's not talking about myself at all. It was a cool moment because we played "We Are Our Voice." My wife explained the song, we sang it, and everyone started standing up at the end, and they just applauded. And the cool thing about that song that I want to say is that because that song was written, I wrote that song during the protesting on Mauna Kea. You know, I remember when the kupuna got arrested. I remember I was working that week, and then the kupuna got arrested, and I was like, I gotta go. You know what I mean? Like, it just was moved in me to go. And so I got off of work. I flew up that night. I stopped at Walmart in Hilo and grabbed blankets, and I shot it up to Mauna Kea. And slept in my truck that night, freezing, like everyone else. I woke up the next morning about like, right when the sun was like cracking up. And the first thing I did was jump outside because I was like, hey, you know, I got to get up early. You know, it's like, you never know, right? Just trying to be, like the same thing, just trying to contribute, help in any way.
Yeah.
I go outside and I'm brushing my teeth. And I see everybody staring at the direction of the sun, staring at the sun, and just pausing and standing and looking at the sun. And I was blown away. ALA, right? I was blown away. And I was brushing my teeth, watching everybody. And I was like, what am I doing? And I stood up and I started watching. And I joined in. And I just was like, and I was just totally mind blown on what was happening. And I spent the whole day there. I flew home that night. And when I woke up the next morning, I woke up early before the sun, like when the sun was rising again, like maybe 5:30 in the morning. And I dreamt the first verse of that song.
Oh, wow.
Came to me in a dream. I don't think I've said that a lot. Whenever we sung it, I wrote that song. When was this? Was this 2019? Yeah. I dreamt the song, and same thing. I busted up my phone and I started typing it out, and I sat on it and I kept working the song throughout the week. That's all I had. All I had was the verse, and the verse starts off, "Where on earth can you find the sun, created by a people who stand in unison?" Because that's how I felt. You know, I felt that, and I shared it with my wife. My wife helped me finish the song, along with one of our friends, and so performing that song in LA, in Hollywood, you know, and sharing just a bit of the piece of what us as Hawaiian people have been dealing with and going through, just a little bit, not even a lot, you know, less than 5 minutes of an explanation, and then to see people connect with that and just be blown away by the story. It's not even like necessary. I don't look at it necessarily. I'm sure the performance has something to do with it, but it's just the story of what we're sharing in the heart and where the song came from. Because that song came from that place of like, you're just looking at our people, so beautiful, so united. And exactly what's happening right now, united, you know, that is powerful. And to experience that, to be there and be a part of it, that's something we're going to tell our kids for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, right.
Because they're going to ask you, where were you? What were you doing? And you're like, I was there. And I've seen it firsthand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And whatever skill set I had, I tried to contribute. And my skill set is writing songs. And that's what I felt like I could give back. And that was a super cool moment.
Yeah.
I can't even describe it. Like, I remember, like, we're looking at each other like, wow. Like, I didn't expect that, you know?
Yeah. We had Auntie Pua on, and she's, like, talking about, you know, the feeling of, like, being together, but being in your power. And it's like everybody was around, and now she's talking about, like, what's happening on Maui, and then to remember, like, to stand in your power. Like, when you were standing on Mauna Kea, like, that's when you were, like, in your power, you know? And just to remember, you can just, like, close your eyes and remember when you were back there, and, like, that feeling that you felt when you were just, like, unshakable, you know? There was so much mana. So.
And then also, like, you know, sometimes not knowing what to give, but then just, like, finding that gift that you have and then being able to give back that way. And that's, like, such a powerful gift.
That's the
and
best
tool,
thing you can do. Yeah. Yeah.
Being present.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's such a beautiful thing, you know, when you authentically write music, because, like, you can see it, you know, people connect with it and they can resonate with it. And I think, you know, it comes through, and especially when you're performing it too. And no, that's amazing.
No, I I remember when we finished that song, I looked at my wife and I told her, and I was like, this is the type of songs I want to write, hopefully write for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? If I could write more songs like this, songs that can inspire, that can give back to our communities, our people, you know, then I feel like educate, you know, which that's what the song did. It educated people. You know, we shared a little bit of the story, and then they heard it in the lyrics, you know, and they're like, wow, I just learned something. Today. I had and so many of the people in that room, and these are people, a lot of those people were like industry people, right? You know, big songwriters, you know, guys who have influence in that town. Yeah. And they're coming up to us and they're like, we had no idea that was going on. Wow. Yeah. You know, and it was like, just by a song, you shared a story and you educated them.
You just sparked that awareness. And then,
who knows where it leads?
Exactly.
Who knows? Oh, yeah. Who knows like what people take from your song, you know, or like you put something out there and somebody has their own story, their own connection, or their own motivation to stand up for their places, or you know, that's cool.
That's cool.
So, yeah,
it really is.
Yeah,
and then it could also inspire other people to like do their own thing and use their gifts, and you know, who knows where that will all lead to. So it's just a beautiful thing.
That's why we have all our different talents, and this world would be so boring if everybody had the same skill set, right? And then we'll get nowhere. We need everyone who has their skill set and what they're really good at, and that's how we come together. We use whatever we can and make something good.
Do you feel like songwriting is your kuleana?
I do.
Yeah.
And when I realized that is when I told myself I need to take music very seriously, and I need to take my role in it seriously. And I truly do. When I sit in a room and I'm writing with people, and especially if we were trying to write songs like that. That song we actually translated into Olelo Hawaii, which we're going to release very soon. And talk about just empowering the song even more. I love that version better than the English version. I get chicken skin whenever we sing it, you know?
Yeah.
And I truly feel that's what I'm called to do.
Yeah.
I'm hoping more than that. You know, I'm always striving to be the best version of myself. But as of right now, that's what I love about making music. And that's what I love about being here. People always talk about, are you going to move? Are you going to move to Nashville and write songs there? And I was like, nah, I'd rather just go there and visit and play and write songs with guys, you know, which I've been doing, you know. Been writing with a bunch of Nashville songwriters, which is amazing. But I do believe my kuleana is here. I want to be home. I want to be writing music for our people. And it's about being present, you know. I've written songs about it, you know. Like when I moved home from college and I moved back home, I fell in love with home, and I was like, why would I leave? Why did I leave this beautiful place, these beautiful people? Why do you go anywhere else? You know?
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes that too, though, to just be away for a little bit,
to realize,
learn what you need to learn.
I just got chicken skin.
And then bring it back home.
Yep, it really does. It's you gotta go through some stuff sometimes to find your calling. One of my mentors told me, he was like, for songwriters, make that clear. He was like, you know, good songwriters, you know what gotta happen? They gotta suffer.
Yeah.
You know, and he first told me, and I was like, oh, how bad though? I don't like suffering that bad. Like, come on, bro.
What kind of suffering are you talking about?
No, but it's funny, you know, you listen to singers and you listen to songwriters, it's those, when you hear their stories of how they had some type of struggle, those are the ones you connect with.
I mean, it's kind of, I mean, it's true though, you know, like the heartbreak, it's like, that's what a lot of people can connect to. And so, I mean, hopefully you can also talk about the joy and people can connect to that.
Yes, too. The hope. Yeah, let's talk about the hope and the good. We can,
but it starts with the heartbreak, I guess.
We'll start there, but we'll climb out of there. Make sure we get out.
We're all going on this journey together. Oh, I love that. I know, it reminds me of like when we had Ippy on and he was, you know, talking about, you know, he was like thinking about, you know, to take culinary seriously, he was thinking he would have to move away, and like nobody knows about, you know, I mean, now everybody knows about Waimea, but then it's like, you know, a small town, like maybe he needs to be out there in a big city to make a name for himself. And he's like, you know what? No, like this is my home and everybody's gonna be looking at us here. We're gonna, and man, people are doing it every day.
we talk about it in a lot of episodes. There's a lot of talent in Hawaii.
Oh, plenty.
And it's how do we create those opportunities here so people don't have to move away?
Yeah.
You know, so
stuff like this is already creating opportunities. Yeah, what you guys are doing.
Yeah, that's our whole point.
And just share the stories.
Share the stories, elevating the voices of people who are doing like big things here in Hawaii.
No, huge.
Yeah.
Like I'm inspired always seeing somebody grow.
Yeah.
Like, wow, that's so cool what they're doing.
No, like we come out of these like recording sessions like pumped, you know, we're like,
Yeah.
holy, like, you know, such a good conversation. Like
Mm-hmm.
it feels selfish sometimes, you know, where we're doing these like to share, but then like we feel so good afterwards. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, we can't stop now. Yeah.
Oh no, yeah.
And to be able to share those stories, and hopefully, you know, like the listeners listening,
They're listening for sure. Yeah.
to take, you know, bits and pieces and advice, and you know,
The long format too, because you know you see like the reels and stuff, and you see the whatever the sound bites, but then it's like nice to be able to talk about your journey and like what you've been through, like where you come from, and time on the ranch, you know, in Ka'u, and you know people can connect to you in that way too. Like like we like those like long format.
Beyond that like surface level.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get a question all the time about living in Waimea when we moved to Waimea. And they're like, oh, how does living in a country or living in Waimea affect your music? And I was like, 100%. Like, it's life, you know? You talk about We Are a Voice when we wrote that song for Mauna Kea. I look out my window every day, and that's what I see is Mauna Kea, you know?
Yeah.
We hunt on that mountain.
Yeah.
You know, we gather from that mountain. It takes care of us.
Yeah.
And it's like, I remember when everything was going down on Mauna Kea, for TMT, I remember sitting there and like, I got to do something because how can I not?
Yeah.
How can I not do something for the Mono, and the Mono always takes care of me?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like in our communities, like how can I not want to contribute? Like they take care of me. They come to my shows. They, you know, they help me support my family. We all, you know, we all work together to make a living. So why wouldn't you want to give back to?
Oh, that's a beautiful thing about Hawaii. Yeah, it's like the community mentality, the village mentality is like Antipo was talking about. We come from village people. Like it's in our DNA who we are. We mobilize when we need when our village needs help, and that's just the people that we come from. That's our kupuna, you know. So how can you not? So I'm like, oh, I love that about Hawaii. I'm so I love to see it.
It makes you proud to be from here. You know,
and it like breaks your heart when you see people suffering. It's like this. It's like, oh, we're with you. Like we're not physically with you, but we're with you. Like our hearts are with you, and
we're ready.
And we're gonna celebrate with you when we get out of this. You know.
Yep. Cry with you, celebrate with you.
Yeah.
That's
amazing. Yeah. All right. So what's next for you? I know we're releasing the album in fall, and you're gonna be doing a bunch of shows?
Doing a bunch of shows. Currently planning them right now. I'm excited to perform all this music. I've been doing a lot of writing recently for like TV and film, which has been fun, and I've been doing that pretty steady. Which is another reason why we're up in LA. You know, just meeting with some of our contacts there and creating more music. A lot of time in the studio. I think I was talking to one of my friends recently, and they was like, okay, so album, we're finish the album, and then you're going to be done. I was like, oh, no way, I'm not going to be done. Keep recording, keep releasing music, keep performing. I would really love to make it over to the mainland. That's one of my short-term goals. And share my music there. Yeah. Which I have already, but
on a different scale.
Yes. And that's where I'm trying to take my music.
Yeah.
You know, really reach beyond and tell our stories about us here in Hawaii.
Well, and the other thing is there's so many of us out there on the continent, you know? There's like half of us out there.
Yeah.
So to be able to reconnect with those people and like bring some of Hawaii over there to them, that's going to be awesome.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Stoked.
Nice. We're excited to see everything come out, and you know, for your new album to drop and all the songs and stuff. So thank you again for coming on and sharing your story and
for having me. I'm glad it was here on Hawaii Island.
I know.
It was so easy. It was right down the road.
Yeah.
I know, right? I'm like, okay, we gotta, you know, this is like the second recording date we went and recorded at Fork, and it's like, I think this is gonna be like our permanent recording.
I know. She was like,
we still got choke people to do on this island.
Why am I gonna fly back? Everyone's here. Just
everybody's.
Yeah. Why would I go back? It's so much more peaceful.
How can people find you and, hear about your album drop and all that?
Kalaimusic.com. You can also check me out on social media at Kalai Music, or you can find me on Facebook as Kalai Parish. And yeah, we'll be coming out soon. Spotify, all the
platforms, everywhere.
All over the place. YouTube.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Thank you again. Thank you guys for watching. Please follow Kalai, follow us, follow Maui. I mean, we're going to put in the show notes like where to donate, where we think that where we're donating. And yeah, see you in the next one. Aloha.
Aloha.